Hey, good morning to everybody. Happy Thursday. It's Daryl here. It is bright and freaking early, man. It's 3 a.m. here in Connecticut on the East Coast. Okay, I always seem to be drawn towards taboo subjects. Subjects that I'm walking a really tight line between getting suspended and demonetized. I don't do this on purpose. It's just things that I find a lot of these subjects, things that people don't or aren't supposed to talk about. I seem to be drawn to. Okay, Aroldis Chapman. Pirates pitcher. I had never heard of this guy until yesterday. I want to talk about him and what he posted on Instagram and his relationship with his mother. There's a reason I want to talk about this because I want to talk about the way I was raised, which was not like Aroldis Chapman. But the thing I really want to talk about most, I've never talked about this, and this has to do with a woman I used to date, and I want to be very careful about how I talk about any of this. I'm going to refer to the top and the bottom. That's all I'm going to say. I'm not going to say any more than that. As for the body parts. A woman I was dating, and I dated for about a year. I talked about her a little bit yesterday. I don't want to get too personal or anything, but I ended up ending the relationship, and I've never talked about this. I actually looked on the site Cura, where you can ask questions. I actually went there to research this topic, kind of what's going on between Aroldis Chapman and his mother, and I saw what I thought was a similar situation with the woman I was dating and her preteen daughter, or young teen daughter, and I had to end the relationship. I felt uncomfortable. I'm going to talk about that. All right, let's go back to Aroldis Chapman. I hope I'm saying that right. If you watch my channel, you know, personally, I'm just really not interested in sports whatsoever. I see he broke a lot of records. I think he's in the Guinness Book of World Records, fastest pitch ever in the Major League Baseball, over 105 miles an hour. He's from Cuba. He's been with the Pirates, the Dodgers, the Yankees. He's an all-star. I believe, if I might get this wrong, I think he's 36, 37 in that area. Forgive me if I didn't get that right. Okay, and he made a lot of news yesterday because he posted something on his Instagram page, and it's taken down now, so their link probably won't be down below. I didn't bother going to his Instagram page because it already says he took this down. But the video will be below in other articles, so you can see exactly what we're talking about here. And it's unorthodox behavior. Now, I'm curious. I don't know. I was raised Catholic, Roman Catholic. And I think a lot of the people from Cuba are also Roman Catholic, or kind of like voodoo. I don't mean that derogatory. Roman Catholic offshoot of Catholicism. I'm saying this because I don't know if there's any area where this is normal behavior, is acceptable behavior. What he's doing in this video now, it made news yesterday. He put a video on Instagram, Aroldis Chapman, and he's laying with an older woman, probably about twice his age, I'd guess, probably late 60s, probably older than me, and he's laying with her, very comfortable. And he's got his hand on her stomach, and he moves it. And, you have to watch the video, because I don't want to say any more than that. I got in trouble when I did the Lauren Bobart video, where she was in the theater. I actually got suspended for a week. So I'm being very careful on how I talk about this. Okay, so he's touching her. And it comes to light that this woman I looked at the picture of his mother, and it's his mom. So he's hugging his mother somewhat inappropriately. And the question I have is, I don't know. He's from Cuba. I don't know if this is acceptable. Apparent to him, it seems like it's acceptable behavior. And the question I have today is, I think there's some families where people are raised and it goes through generations where this kind of behavior is acceptable, is normal. And I'm going to say in my family, I remember specifically when I saw this video, I remember getting yelled at My mother was raised, she went to a Catholic school with nuns, and she's part Native American, part Canadian French, and she was raised in a very, very uptight Catholic background. And I remember accidentally, seriously, when I was younger, my youngest memories, laying with my mom, and I remember brushing accidentally, and I remember getting scolded. You don't touch there. You never touch there. There's never any kissing on the lips. Never. Kiss on the cheek, and that's it. I'd like to think that I was raised. I've never had any issues with anything, and to me that was normal. The normal way to be raised. So when I see this video, I cannot for the life of me. Oh my God, I could never imagine, laying with my mom, and hugging her in this fashion. It's something of a nightmare to me, to be honest with you. Okay, this is really what I want to talk about, because I've never talked about this. Like I said, I started to wonder if in some families, generationally, this kind of behavior is acceptable. I started dating a woman, and I dated her for a year. She was divorced, and she told me right out it was because of her behavior, her online messaging, very questionable material to other guys is why she got divorced. So I was never really trusting of her because of her past behavior in her marriage 20 years. And she has a young daughter. She had a young daughter who was about 12 years old at the time. And I was dating her for the first 6 months, and then I finally got to meet the daughter, because she wanted to make sure that the relationship between me and her, she seemed like a good mom. She wanted to make sure the relationship between me and her was solid before she introduced me to her daughter, which I thought was admirable. And I got introduced, and we got along great. I noticed her daughter. It made me feel uncomfortable, because one of the first times I was staying over, I would sleep on the couch, okay, just to make things look good. And the daughter a lot of times would sleep with her mother, in bed with her mother, even though her daughter it was a 3-bedroom house. There was plenty of room. Like I said, the daughter was 12 years old, and I felt uncomfortable because the daughter seemed awfully immodest, like taking showers and stuff, leaving the bathroom door open, and I felt very uncomfortable. And then it got weird. The daughter would play around, like we'd all be sitting. Like it'd be 9 or 10 o'clock at night, before I would go out to the couch, and we'd be sitting on the bed, talking, playing games, watching TV, and the daughter would reach out and do the same thing that AROLDIS Chapman is doing up top, with her mother, and her mother would just laugh, and then the daughter started doing it below, and her mother kind of still laughed, and she just laughed it off, not up top, down below, which I was shocked. It was weird. And, the mother just explained it as, she's curious, she's that age, and this is her mother. And like I said, it made me feel very uncomfortable. Now, there's more to this story. I don't want to get too personal here, but already this woman had described to me her relationship with her siblings. She had 3 sisters and a brother. And like in yesterday's video, I mentioned that she would drink. She'd drink wine every night. She got kind of loose with, she would tell me things I think she wouldn't ordinarily tell me. And she talked about her relationships with her siblings going back, about how her and her brother would play doctor. And she said they took it a little too far, and she just stopped there. And other relationships with her sisters. Now, I thought about this. The whole family was gorgeous, and I remembered I knew them from when I was a teenager in high school. I dated 2 of the sisters, and they were some of the prettiest girls in high school. And I remember me and my friends' attitudes back then, as a young teenager, and our fantasies. And back then, the idea of her and her sisters being friendly, that was, would have blown our minds. But now that I'm older and it's a reality, she told me about instances where her and her sisters drank with their husbands, and things started interchanging, and and more of this stuff would come out. And she told me how when they would all come home from school, the mother would lock them out of the house for hours, where they would sit in the backyard. This is when they're in high school, and they'd all have to sit in the backyard and wait till the mother came home before they were let inside the house. Which there had to be a reason for that. Why teenagers wouldn't even be able to go in their own house. We're talking 15, 16-year-old people not allowed in their own house until the parent was there. So I started putting this all together, and there was one day where the ex-husband came over, and the ex-husband came over a lot. So the ex-husband, my girlfriend, and the daughter are all in the house cooking supper. And he's just visiting. I'm gonna eat supper there, but he's just he just stopped over. And I felt like such an interloper. And then they went out. The mother and father went out. My girlfriend went out to work on the pool, and I was inside with the daughter. And she was just playing around. She got along good with me, but I just felt very uncomfortable. And it was that moment where I just decided to end the relationship. I did not feel comfortable the way she was raising her, and I saw it as trouble for myself, potentially in the future, with just things getting confused. Not my behavior, but other people's behavior. And so I was shocked that it appeared to me. Then I started looking this up on Quora, the site, and there's more families than I would have ever imagined that seem to have this relationship, this taboo relationship. And that's what I thought of when I looked at Aroldis Chapman and his mother this morning. I don't know. I don't know if it's, I'd be surprised that he would think that that taboo relationship is so normal that he would post it on Instagram. Or is it just some kind of cultural thing from Cuba? Is that it? Let me know, because I'm very curious. This is something I witnessed in my relationship, this kind of behavior, this taboo relationship, and I never, I'm uncomfortable with it. I want nothing to do with it. It's not the way I was raised. But let me know in the comments what you guys think about this. I'll be back later. I got so much to talk about. I want to talk about raising the retirement age. There was something from the right about raising the retirement age, and I want to talk about that. You guys, I'll be back later with a video. You guys have a good Thursday.